All right, good morning, everyone. So it's Wednesday, January 8th, about 8 a.m. Prices of BTC are at 82.92, a good $150 or so of a drop-off since yesterday's high. All right, so I'm going to discuss exactly what we did for our trade setups yesterday and then what we're looking out in terms of outlooks for the rest of the day, okay? So first things first, again, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we do have our 50% discount for Advantage membership, only lasting till January 15th. So get it while it's hot. It's only valid for first-time members and only valid for 1 month and 3-month subscriptions, okay? And this is not a recurring thing. This is only a one-time thing. So once you get the 1 or 3 month, after that, you'll have to start paying full price, all right? So now that we got the bills out of the way, okay, so let's get to it, all right? So on the 30-minute chart, all right, what we see really is this trend line that's basically been created, okay? And so now you can see price breaking just a little bit under that trend line. Now we need to see and make sure that this current 30-minute candle closes fully outside of this trend line, okay? What that will ensure is more potential downside, all right? So if it does get rejected by this trend line, right, it'll probably come down to either sweep these levels right here. So the low of this candle is around 82.50, all right, or it might hit, the top of this resistance block right here, okay, this area right here. So that's around about $8,200 or so, all right? So that's something to keep in mind, okay? Now, the way we are positioned, okay, so first of all, again, if you missed out on some of the trades yesterday, we had a short trade yesterday evening, I think, or yesterday morning we started off with a short, okay? So yesterday morning I entered a short around 78.39, and what I was really looking for was, or I actually added on to my short right here. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly where we were on the chart, okay? So here we go. So over here, this is where we were, all right? This is where, when we were in the $7,800 area, all right? So what happened was, okay, we were in this area right here dropping off, all right? And then I saw this drop off, I added some on my short right here, and then price pulled back up to this area, and I said, okay, well, it looks like this particular area right here, this little base right here, is rejecting price, or technically it's this little base right here, okay, is rejecting price. So when I saw this candle getting rejected and it couldn't clear above this key lower high, I said, okay, I'm gonna add to my short, and I rode the short down here and I took some profit, okay? So that was our first trade that we took, all right? And then after that, okay, what we did was we took another trade for a short, okay? So what I did was I entered a short around 8,060. And the reason I did that, I'm gonna show you guys all the reasonings of why I did certain things the way I did them, okay? So here we go, all right? So yesterday we were in this block right here, all right? And I said, okay, well, once price gets up into this area, when it starts poking up here, all right, I'm gonna short this thing, all right? Because I thought that, okay, over here, it's going to start getting rejected. And I placed my stop somewhere up here around 81.75, okay? And as you can see, I also added on to my position around 81.10, all right? And then I got stopped out, okay? So that's one of the losses that we took, okay? So remember that we took a smaller loss, a negative 8% loss, all right? Now, that's all well and good, okay? That's just part of trading. Now, for the most part, okay, this is where our big gains came from, okay? So I entered along right around this area, right? So I'm gonna show you guys that now, okay? So let's go dial back on the smaller time frames, okay? So we were basically down here pulling back, and I thought, okay, we might be coming down, maybe retesting this trend line, and then we might be bouncing back up. So I had orders basically scaled, from I think here down, all right? And some of my orders hit right here, but then once price started pulling back up, then I started to add on to my order right here. And so I let my community know that, hey, I'm going to enter some longs right here because it looks like price has basically retested, not this trend line, but rather what it did was it retested this right here, this area and this high, okay? So notice price ripped through, okay? And it basically came down into these key resistance levels. So while we were watching this trend line right here, price actually did do a nice SR test, Okay, so that was good, and that got me a little bit more confident too, and that's why I took this trade. Okay, so we took this long around 8,050, as you can see. All right, and we rode this thing. Our first take profit was around 83.19. Okay, so that was almost a $260 or $275 move. So from here, we rode it up all the way up into this area, took profit up here, and then the next key profit area that we took was, let me see, around 84.45. Okay, so basically right at the top around here. Now let me explain why I took profit there. Okay, so first thing, the reason I took profit right above this area is because I saw that this was a 4-hour supply box, right? This one right here. Okay, and just as we were poking past this, I said, okay, it looks like we might, push up, wick, and maybe come back down. All right. But that didn't really happen. What we did was we kept pressing on. But for me, it was important to take profits, so I did. And then the next area that I saw, that I mentioned to my community members, was this, the daily supply. Okay, the daily supply comes from these two green consolidation candles. And this is where the wick poked all the way almost to the EQ of this area. The EQ meaning the equilibrium of this range right here. Okay, so if I do that, so notice how price just came close to the EQ of this white dashed line, meaning that's the mid-range of this consolidation period. So that's where I also took profit, okay? So now I have 1/3 of my position left, okay? So I shave off profits usually in thirds, sometimes in fourths, okay? So now what we're doing is we're waiting to see, okay, if price is going to come back to a key area and test, maybe a level as an SR area. The first area that I'm looking forward to is this, okay, this key 1-hour block that is right around here, okay? So that's some bad color scheme right there. Someone changed that to a yellow. Okay, so that area currently lies between 82.17 and down to about 81.67, okay? So if price does come down to this area and it looks like it wants to bounce up from it, I'll probably add on to my long. Okay, now if it does look like price is looking weak, right, and it's consolidating right here, and it looks like it wants to poke past this area, I'll probably be going short, okay? And my advantage members will definitely know exactly what I'm doing, okay? All right, so now you understand what we're looking for, okay? We're looking for an SR retest of a key, previous resistance area, at least based on the 1-hour time frame. Based on the 4-hour time frame, you can see what we have is, this big candle right here with a pretty, nasty wick to the upside. This candle right here is half wick and half body, okay? So it's pretty much a neutral candle. And the following candle to that is basically a doji, maybe you can call it like an evening star. Typically, you want to see evening stars right at the top, and they poke right into the height of the resistance, not like this. So I don't really quite call this an evening star, okay? And the candle after that is really, again, an indecision candle. So now you can see prices again poking and piercing right back to that area that I told you guys about, right? Right into this area, okay? So what we're really looking forward to is seeing how this daily is going to close. Okay, so first let me make sure the visibility on this is just the hour. Okay, so what we're really looking forward to is how the daily is going to close. Again, based on that, we can either re-enter longs or short this thing with a stop just above the wick high, okay? That's kind of how I'm going to play this market. Now, here's the thing, okay? It's pretty evident that the bullish FOMO is already, pretty high, right? We've had two very strong candles with pretty significant volume, as you can see. And we can even look at the spot volume right here, all right? Okay, so notice the spot volume. Okay, it's increasing right here, right? And it's increasing on each of the candle spreads. So as the candles get bigger and bigger and they go up higher and higher, the volume is increasing. So this is a very positive sign from the perspective of this being spot volume. And the perpetual futures volume, which is Bybit right here, right, or BitMEX, those volumes are also going up. Now here's the thing. To validate both these, we now look at the CME volume as well, okay? Now this is interesting too. All right, notice the CME volume is also significantly high, okay? And it's much higher than it's been maybe even since all the way back here in May, okay? So the highest, actually, no, sorry, I take that back. Right around this May area, this was the highest volume that we've last seen, okay? And so over here, this was pretty much the highest volume, almost equal to this volume that we saw in the middle of December. So this is a very positive sign in terms of the CME futures as well, okay? So what this is telling me is for now, things still do look bullish, okay? That's a very positive sign. Now, yesterday I mentioned to my Advantage community members that the 200 moving average on the futures chart, especially the CME chart, is pretty important, and it's something that I pay attention to, right? So that was another reason why I shaved off some of my position yesterday around 83.50 or 83.70, wherever it was, as price hit this 200 moving average on the BTC CME futures chart, okay? Just in case, you know, the majority of the volume for the futures or even BitMEX is coming directly from the futures players, right? They're not going to be paying attention to the charts over here. What they're paying attention to is the charts over here. This is more technically sound for them. So I'm just saying that just in case, you know, the big players moving the market right now are following this chart, we might want to be careful and take, you know, profit around this area. And also that kind of is validated by the fact that 200 moving average was met right here at the beginning of December on the CME futures chart and then dumped. So I figured that, you know what, maybe it is valid, maybe it isn't, but why take a chance? You know, why not just take profit as price is starting to hit the futures chart 200 moving average, okay? So I'm gonna open up the floor to the Advantage members. Any questions so far? Are you guys understanding my analysis, why we took profit, where we did, what technical markers we've been looking at, and what we have to look forward to the day? Is it everything clear? Yep, okay, awesome. Good to hear, good to hear. Okay, what do I think of the TD? All right, great point. So I actually looked at this just yesterday, all right? Which chart was it? There it is, okay. So here's the TD on the daily chart, okay? So obviously we can see that we're only on a green 6, all right? So nothing in terms of marking a reversal yet, just yet. All right, so we have maybe 3 more candles to go, because remember the way TD works is Tom DeMark, the person who created this, he basically looked at markets, market data for almost, you know, 50 to 100 years going back in the 40s or 50s. I forget exactly when it was. And he said that markets typically find exhaustion in 9s or 13s, whether it's exhaustion to the upside or the downside, okay? So I can show you, for example, you know, notice right here, this is the 9 candle right here, right? And after the 9, we have 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 was the last one right here that we saw as the exhaustion candle, and then boom, we took off, okay? Let me see if I can give you another example. Notice right here, again, a 9 basically creating the bottom. Yes, over here, you know, we have some candles that go a little bit lower, but this was really the 9 that marked the exhaustion, okay? Let's see if we can find a 9 to the upside, okay? Notice, again, 9 right here, 9 at the top and then sells off, all right? Let me see if I can find another one. This isn't accurate because Bybit DeMark sequential is coming only from December. So here's another potential 9, right? So this is a 9, then 10, 11, 12, 13, and then you had 2 more candles after that, and then it sells off, right? Or rather, it tops. Okay, so the point is that, you know, 9s and 13s are the numbers that you want to pay attention to, okay? And then you also want to pay attention to the setup trend line right here, which is these red dots right here, or you'll see green dots somewhere too. There should be green dots somewhere. Okay, right there. Okay, so these green dots basically signify above this you might be, you know, able to take a trade. Below this you should potentially short. Okay, so for example, this one right here, your short entry as per the Tom DeMark sequential would have been right at the break of this red dashed or red dotted line. Okay, and even same over here, red dotted line, you go short. All right. Okay, so as per the DeMark sequential, it looks like we may have a little bit more upside to go. Let's see what we're seeing. It looks like we're seeing some movement in the markets right now, okay? So check this out, okay? So we're coming very close, like I said, to that area that we were hoping to test as a key SR level, right around there. Okay, so I'm going to see how this thing bounces off over here, and I'm going to be interested in potentially taking longs. Okay, but I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I have to cover. I hope that's clear. And let me see on the daily chart if there's anything else to cover. So we did talk about, you know, this hitting the key supply area. Another way to look at this is I connected two of the wick highs, right? So I'm gonna turn off the sequential right here, and I'm gonna turn off the volume. All right, so I connected two of the wick highs, as you can see right there. Okay, this wick high and this wick high, and just in case, you know, we're trying to break out of this other trend line that we had, right, outside of this candle, who knows, you know, we might be hitting the top side of this other trend line, which would give us a target around $8,900 to $9,000, okay? I don't know if that's going to be likely today, but we'll see, right? It looks like the bullish FOMO is, you know, so intense that it might be possible, okay? So we'll see. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Any last questions from the community? What do you think on things like the 6 hour and the 12 hour? I don't know. I mean, if you're asking in terms of just the sequential, I wouldn't really, I mean, yeah, I guess it does. I mean, this is a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is the 14th candle. So yeah, I mean, as for the 6 hour, this thing definitely looks topped off, okay? But here's the thing, right? When it comes to big volatile movements like this, right? You know, things like the sequential are sometimes not really as useful. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use them. I'm just saying that take them with a grain of salt, okay? Just watch the horizontal levels, like the key SR levels, wait for, you know, support, resistance to flip into support, watch for key markers to be hit, and if they hold, okay? All right. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I really want to cover for today. For, you know, the remainder of stuff, I will inform my Advantage community members. Like I said, if you're watching this free video, folks, you know, you can see we are running that 50% discount only for 1 month or 3 months. 1 month is currently $100, so 50% discount, that's $50, and 3 months is $150, okay? So I hope you guys come join, come make some gains with us, come learn from us, and at least understand how not to lose money, you know, in this market, because clearly, you know, people are enjoying our community, and they're making some gains, or at least I'll help them and protect them from making bad mistakes, okay? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the analysis. Come join Cryptosomniac, and I will catch y'all soon, all right? Cheers.